What's up, Hambone here, and I am bringing you a special commentary today, which will be very similar to my I Have Dystonia video. If you haven't seen that, I'll link an annotation on the screen right now. But in that video, I did mention that I had some football success in a quote-unquote football career. More or less, I was just talking about my high school football time playing, but I couldn't think of another way to say it other than just saying a football career. So that was that. But someone requested that I do a video on it, so I figured why not. Don't take this video as me bragging or something. It's just a fun story I like to tell, and I enjoy telling it. For the sake of my personal identity and stuff, I'm not going to reveal the school I went to, the state I lived in, or anything like that. Simply because uh, you can easily find out where I live once you figure out which school I went to because of how small of an area I lived in, and I'm not saying that my subscribers, you guys, would really care that I would have a problem with y'all knowing. It's just that there might be that one guy on the internet who looks for stuff like this where people just reveal where they live and stuff, and then they rather start sending like prank stuff to them, or they're one of those I don't know. I'm paranoid about stuff. I don't want to end up having like a serial killer like coming to my house. I know that sounds retarded, but I don't know, I'm just kind of paranoid about stuff like that. So I'm not going to reveal stuff like that. But hopefully I can bring you a very entertaining video today talking about some stuff that I have experienced in my football quote-unquote career. I did play Little League from ages 4 to 12. Ages in there stuff. I played Little League for like 10 years and 9 or 10 years, and more or less, that was just my introduction to football. I enjoyed it. I was primarily a lineman in those times, which makes sense because that's what I ended up being in high school. But it's nothing really important. My first season I played for like when we were like the smallest age group. We did go undefeated. That's the only special thing I have to say about Little League. Didn't really learn much from our Little League coaches. They didn't really teach us how to block properly. I found that out once I reached high school, middle school, 8th grade. But yeah, 8th grade, my first year playing on a high school football team. I say high school because our middle school and high school was connected together, and our JV could consist of 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. I went to a small school, by the way. We were single A, so which single A means the smallest possible school size for a public high school, as far as the ratings are concerned. Um, anyway, we were a small school, so 8th graders could play on junior varsity, and I made the team. You could not make the team just because of the limited amount of players we had. But I didn't start. I actually ended up getting injured. But it was fun to play. I will say, not going to talk too much on this, but the coach we had that year was a complete dickhead. One of the worst coach I've ever had. I'll say that. He was so arrogant and knew so little. He lied a lot, as well. He would oftentimes talk about just ridiculous sounding things. If I could, it might be touchdown. Yep. All right. Like if I could have videotaped some of the stuff he said and showed it to y'all, I would have, because he was a complete dickhead. He was saying stuff like, I was growing up, I wanted to be a rock star, but I ended up changing my mind and decided to go play football for some big college. And I looked up, and they had never even heard of him. I actually did a really deep Google search on him because I wanted to see how much of his bullshit. I wanted to see if any of it was relatively true, and none of it was. He said that he coached a football team through the internet across the country, which is just ridiculous sounding. Yes, he said that, and I'm pretty sure he was talking about fantasy football or something. I've never been entirely sure what the hell he was talking about there, but he was a dickhead. Did not like him. He didn't know much about anything really, and I only had him my 8th grade year. He was brought in from outside the school though to coach, so it wasn't like he was a teacher at the school or something. But then my 8th grade year for JV, we ended up going like 3-7 or something. We did bad, but we had a shitty coach too. We had an alright team. Anyway, ninth grade year. At the beginning of it, I didn't end up starting on JV, but one of our players, because we had a bunch of 10th graders on our team, and they ended up one of them got sick, and I actually got his starting spot on offense and defense because I was next in line at both spots, and I played so well that I took his spot from him. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I took it on both offense and defense, and at some point, uh, I actually got taken off the starting defensive squad for a while because one of the parents was complaining that her son wasn't playing enough, and that was the guy whose spot I actually took. He wasn't that good. He was just really big more than anything. So I got his spot. He actually got his defensive spot back just because he was so big. I guess they figured it'd be hard to block him. And the coach told me that. He told me straight up what the deal was. And I was just like, okay. Yeah, I really wish that hadn't happened because I really enjoyed playing defense more than playing offense at the time. Just because defense is more fun because it's more or less like you just go wild pretty much and you don't have to really worry about thinking too much. You just react to everything. But yeah, I ended up starting the rest of the season on offense, and I did actually end up starting another game on defense when we actually lost another player, and I had to start at defensive end this time, and I probably had my best game defensively that season on JV. I ended up causing like 2 fumbles that game, and I had a bunch of tackles from that spot. I did get laid out one time really good though because I wasn't paying attention and a guard pulled and just smacked the shit out of me. I remember that. I got laid flat out. That was anyway. I got a lot of experience because I got a lot of playtime that season, and I end up. Are they going for it? Oh, okay. And good experience. Had a lot of fun playing that season because I got to play as much as I did. But at the end of that season, the head varsity coach for our school got fired. And it was probably a good thing. He was a very arrogant person. I won't say he was a dickhead, yeah, but he was very full of himself. He thought that he knew everything, and he really didn't allow the assistant coaches to help him at all. They were there more or less to just run the drills, and he would do all the coaching. And we had a bunch of smart assistant coaches on our team, very smart, and a lot of them. Oh my God, almost broke that. Anyway, a lot of them had been with the school very long. They were very intelligent, and this guy he liked to do things himself, and it caused him to get fired because our varsity team did crap like 3 seasons in a row. It was like 1-9, 3-7, and 2-8 or something. I think that's exactly what happened in those 3 seasons exactly. But he got fired, and then our school probably did the best decision they ever did in hiring this new coach and his set of coaches that came with him from another school that was very close by. He actually got fired from that school. Why he got let go from that school, I have no idea. Fantastic coach. Oh wow, did y'all see that pancake by 67? Holy crap. Anyway, he was a good coach. So we got him, and we actually graduated a lot of seniors at the end of my 9th grade year. And I've been in the weight room a lot. I've been in the weight room, all 8th and 9th grade. Even before I started playing football my 8th grade year, I was in the weight room a lot. Oh wow, you got laid out. And then I was in the weight room, introduced myself to these new coaches. I made sure they saw me. I thought maybe I could make the varsity team, not as a starter, but maybe I could make the varsity team and just be on the varsity team exclusively and not have to worry about playing on JV just for the coolness of it. It's like, you're on JV, okay, you're on varsity, cool. Our school wasn't like broken down to like jock and stuff. It was just one of those things like from a mental standpoint. It's like, yeah, I want to play varsity, but they ended up offering me a starting job at center. They said that if they was going to give me the chance to be the starter because I was in the weight room so much, and I was like, all right. And come season time, I got the job. I played well enough during practice to get the job, and I had to work my ass off to get that job during practice. I'll say that I was. But I will say this: Should I have been starting on varsity? No. I started on varsity simply because we didn't have that many players as far as size was concerned. Um, I could have easily been a JV starter, but a varsity starter, no. I was a 10th grader. It was my first year on varsity, and I definitely didn't have the experience, and I definitely wasn't strong enough to be a starter. But I got it, and that season I played well. Well, not well. I played mediocre throughout the season. I actually had some problems come up where I had to miss 2 games, but I won't go into that for particular reasons, and I ask that y'all do not ask about that. But I did end up missing 2 games that season because of some things, and I actually had to earn my starting job back because of it. And it wasn't really me earning it back. It was just like I had to get back in practice, back in form to get it back at the time. So anyway, we ended up finishing that season 2-8. It was our first year learning their system, learning their offense, learning their defense, and getting used to getting used to the new coaches. But 11th grade year comes around, and I've been in the weight room, been working out, and we end up playing pretty well. We actually won our first 4 games that season, and we were thinking, you know, we're gonna make the playoffs. We're gonna have our first winning season in like 10 years or something, and we actually ended up hitting our district. And we had one of the toughest districts in our state for our school size. I will say that. We probably were in the toughest district in our state for our school size. Simply because more state championships came out of our district than any other district in the state, like out of the past 10 to 15 years. We won. Our district produced state championships a lot. They primarily came from 2 schools, but other schools contributed too. And I'll get to that in a second. But our district was really really tough. I mean, so we actually ended up falling flat at the at the second half of the season, and we ended up going 5-5 at the end of it. It was our best record our school had in forever. I will say that. But it wasn't a winning season, and we ended up falling flat. Me personally, how I played that season. I played better. I'll say I played well enough to get honorable mention for our district at center that year. So I definitely played better. I did get to play some on defense that year too. Didn't get to start on defense, but I did play a good amount on defense. The defense that we ran, by the way, was a 3-5. And which means we had 3 down linemen, 1 nose guard, 2 defensive ends, and then 5 linebackers, with the 2 outside linebackers being hybrid, like DB linebacker types. But we finished 5-5. It was the best season we'd had in forever, so we couldn't complain. But we wanted more. We definitely did. We thought we should have done better, and we probably should have done better. We lost a couple close games that we probably should have won, but we made too many mistakes. But that being said, next thing comes up, senior year for me. I was working hard in the weight room, and our entire team was working hard in the weight room. Probably had some of the closest knit group of guys on the team ever. We were all really good friends, and we worked hard. Even when some of us weren't really good friends, we had that team chemistry type deal going on, and it was good. We played good together, and we've been playing together since a lot of us since 8th grade. And next up is senior year comes around. We win our first game. We're up 36-0 at halftime. We were ready this season. We won our first game 36-0 at halftime. The final score of that game was 36-6 because we sat our starters the second half of the game. Second game we won 52-14. It was rather a second game or a third game we won 52-14, and then the one before that or the one other than that we won 42-14. So it was one of those two. Anyway, we were winning our games. We were winning pretty dominantly in our first 4 games of the season. We started 4-0 again. And then our 5th game of the season comes around. It's against our district rifle and a very good team. And I'm going to go ahead and say that we... What? I'll let time right out? Oh, I'm an idiot. Alright, anyway. We kind of let the feelings of the atmosphere of the game get together, because it was like a playoffs atmosphere. Our team was very hyped up this year. Their team was once again, good, and it was a very playoff atmosphere. And more or less, we let the hype and the atmosphere of the game get to us. I'm going to say that we ended up losing 22-0. The most points we gave up all season, by the way. And a lot of people will say that it's disappointing that we lost that game, and it is. But I'm going to say that it's a good thing that we lost that game from this standpoint. And probably some people on my team would probably think, "Are you crazy? It's not a good thing that we lost." And it's like, yeah, it is, because losing that game allowed us to put our team on track. It allowed us to correct mistakes that were there, problems in the team that were there, and we were able to more or less take that loss in, get it out of our system when we did, and our team knew what it felt like to lose at that point. We knew that we didn't want to have it happen again, more or less, and it more or less drove our team to do better. And we ended up finishing out our district, winning our next 5 games. We actually won a very tough game against what I considered to be the best team in our district besides us that year, 19-6, and they actually ended up beating the team that beat us like 28-14 or something. So they were a very good team. We beat them, and then we actually beat a team that we hadn't beaten in like 10 years, 28-7. And what's cool about that is that when they beat teams, they used to jump up and down and count the points that they scored on their middle emblem in the middle of the field, and we did that to them, and that was an awesome feeling when we did that. But we beat them, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that if we would have played, if we would have found a way to find how the feeling that we had in ourselves after that loss, like without losing, like that confidence or that like team rebuilding type deal together that we got from that loss. If we would have played that team that we lost to in like the 10th week, if we would have found a way for our team to like have this rebuilding moment that we had after we lost to them, and we would have played them 10th week, we would have beat them. I can almost guarantee that. And it might just be me talking, saying that like, oh yeah, we would have beat them. And no, I'm genuinely positive we would have beat them. Anyway, make the playoffs for the first time in like forever. So we're 9-1 at this point. In our first playoff game, we get our first shutout of the season, and we beat them 10-0. Very tough playoff game. It was a very grinded out type game. And in fact, almost all of our playoff games were very grinded out type games, except for the last one. But we ended up beating them 10-0. A very respectable team, I will say that. Like when they lost, they lost gracefully. I'll say that. Oh, come on, Marshawn. Anyway, so we beat them. We won our first playoffs game in like 10 years as well. And then our next playoff game was for our region championship. And I'm going to go ahead and say the toughest game we played all season, without a doubt. We played a very good team. In fact, I will say they were probably better than us. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say they were better than us. But it was a very grinded out type game as well. Very grinded out. They were a very grueling team to play. The type of offense that they ran was a wing T. And for any of y'all football guys out there who know what the wing T is, it's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Pounding type offense. What they do is they pull like 2 or 3 people at a time, and they just try and get everyone to one side and just pound the ball down your throat. That was a tough game. It probably wouldn't have been so tough on us if we would have had more size on our team, But I mean, it was me, one of my friends, and then someone else was about the only real size we had, and it was tough. But we ended up winning 20-17. One of the toughest games, in fact, the toughest game I've ever played, ever. Um, I was so sore after that game. It was so cold that night too, which which made it even worse. But God, that was a game. And it was a fun game. I'll say that. I enjoyed winning. Winning that game was one of the best feelings ever, just because you earned it. It was a tough game, and yeah, that was a game right there, man. Anyway, um, I actually have a DVD of like our games and stuff on it. It has some copyrighted music on it, at least our highlights of our games. Um, if I ever become more comfortable with the whole internet knowing where I live and stuff deal, I might post that on my channel at some point, just so y'all can see it. It's pretty cool. Um, but it does have some copyrighted music, so I'd have to mute it and maybe play some domain-free music over top of it. But it is a pretty cool video. Anyway, getting back on topic, uh, we won our region championship, and now we went to our state semis. This game, it was a very muddy game. It had rained a lot the night before, and it was a very mud-soaked field, and there was actually more to some stuff from our school standpoint. Some stuff happened, and a lot of players on our team were playing for more than just themselves this game. I'll say that. I won't go into detail again out of respect for people, but um, we ended up winning that game 14-6, and we should have won by more. I'll say that. We had a bunch of touchdowns called back on some straight bullshit. Because I watched the replay of the game after that game was over, and we had they had some terrible calls on some touchdowns we had. So we ended up winning that, and we made it to the state championship. That game, I will say, because we had all those touchdowns called back, it was a very grueling game. It was a very grinded out type game, but we won, so that's all that matters really. But when it comes down, next game, state championship. That's where we're at now. Yeah, that's right. So, state championship. We were ready. That's all I gotta say. We were super hyped up, except we weren't hyped up to the point where we were going to play like we did in that week 5 game. We were ready, and the other team came in. They were a good team. They weren't up to our level. I'll say that. They came from. I'll say this also. I know we said I came from the probably played in the toughest district. I also came from, at the time, what would be the toughest region in our state, in my opinion, for our school size. Usually when a state championship was won in our state for our school size, it came out of either that region or one other region. We had 4 regions, and both of those regions were played each other in the state semis every year. So the state championship always came from one of these 2 regions for the most part. And the team we were playing, they were good, but they weren't up to our level, and they weren't up to the competition that we had played. We ended up beating them 27-7 in a pretty dominating performance. Like, they scored because we turned the ball over one time, and their ball, and they only had to go like 20 yards to score, but we were putting the D to them pretty hard. They really couldn't do anything against us, and we won our first state championship for our school ever. We ended with our first winning season in 10, 11 years, and yeah, it was pretty cool. I got my state ring. If I can figure out how to get my pictures from my phone to my computer, because I don't have an SD card, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but if I can, I'll definitely put up a picture of my state ring right here. Alright, if the picture showed up, it'll be there now. But if not, I guess I couldn't figure out how to do it. But yeah, we won a state championship, and it was pretty cool. But as me as an individual player that year, I did really well. I'll say that. I was, without a doubt, the most consistent lineman on our team. As far as I remember, I never missed a block that year. Never. I was very efficient. I was very, I was very good. I wasn't penalty heavy. I don't think I had a penalty on me that entire season. I might have had one snap infraction or something, but I didn't get any holding. I didn't get any jumping off sides or anything, though I was a center, so it's kind of hard for me to jump off sides. And I ended up getting first team all district in my district for center, and then I ended up getting second team defensive lineman. Just kind of bullshit. I was pretty good on defense that year. I did start defense my senior year, and I thought I should have got first team personally, but I didn't. And then I also got offensive lineman of the year in our district that my senior year. So I did pretty good. And then on our team, we also had a player get defensive player of the year. We had a bunch of first teamers on our team, and a couple players who got second team in our district who should have got first team. They were cheated. Definitely. Oh, I didn't want to do this. I wanted to run the ball. Timeout. And yeah, in the region play, I got in our region I got first team all region, and then I got no, I didn't. More players on my team got first team region, and had some second team regions, and then we also had a player that got defensive player of the year in the region on our team. He was really good. If you didn't know, I don't know if I said before, but our team was very defensive reliant heavy. We had a bunch of really good defensive players on our team, more than offensive. But anyway, we ended up having a lot of awards sent to our team. In fact, let me actually have a list of everything I've gotten right here. So let me see. I've already said Region B first team center. I got the Associated Press All-State team first team center. I got an all-area first team center, and then I got my state's high school coaches association first team center. So if I'm probably going to have a quick little you probably heard it. It was probably a quick little like sound like cutting out because I said what state I lived in. So I blurted that out. So yeah, I was awarded with a lot of rewards. So pretty cool. As far as like after high school and what I could have done, I had a lot of problems with my knees, probably from going too low on squats, which I did a lot. Parallel squats from working out, and I also had, of course, my dystonia, and I didn't want that to happen when I was playing like in like a college level, just in case it might happen. And I could have went and played for some like D3 schools. I think there was a D2 school looking at me too. Now I wasn't like going to play at like Alabama or LSU or anything like that. Don't worry about that. But I did good. And a lot of players on our team did good. And yeah. I might also put up some pictures of I got some medals and stuff for getting like first team all state and stuff like that. So and I got sacked. But that's about it. If you thought this video was interesting, I might be able to go into some more depth or something at some point about this. I mainly went over my senior year because that was the most interesting season. I did another take of this earlier that was like 45 minutes. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stuck around for the entire video. I know it was long. But yeah. Hope, as usual, if you liked the video, be sure to give it a like. If you stuck around this long, maybe I've earned a subscriber from you. And as usual, I hope you